Okay, this video is to document the vacuum line routing for 1984 928S. This particular vacuum routing are the small thin lines. Got an intake refresh going on here, and so got a lot of components out of the car. Makes it easier to see. These routings can be very confusing when you first look at it. As you can see, there's a lot of lines going on here, so I figured I'd document this in case I have to get back into this again, because I've replaced all these lines, so hopefully it will be another 30 years before I have to do it. But for anybody else doing it, it might be a big help. Some other folks on Renlist had made some videos and some documents of this and helped out a lot. So anyhow, essentially, these vacuum lines, which are these thin black lines, there's 4 separate lines. 2 of them are direct lines with no connections. The other 2 are assemblies that have these Y connectors to them. So in total, there's 4 of them. So the largest one, which I'll go through one at a time, has 3 of the Y connectors. The next one just has 1 Y connector, and like I said, there's 2 that are just straight connections. Okay, so we'll start here at the front. I don't have these in all the way yet because I'm not exactly sure what the best routing is going to be when everything's in, so if I have to take it off, I don't want to pull it all the way down. Anyhow, this is at the very front of the engine, fuel regulator. This line, this is the very forward part of the largest vacuum assembly lines. So this comes back across the top of your water bridge, and then to the first of 3 Y connectors. Okay, so the first branch branches off to the passenger side, and right now I'm just kind of routing it loosely, but if you make note of this before you're taking them off, you'll know where it goes back when it comes back in. It comes back and into this device, which is, according to the diagram on the hood, I think it says control valve 2. I'm not exactly sure what it does, but it pins in right here. So followed back to this first Y connector. As you continue back to the rear branch, comes in, I've routed under the hose here to this first, or the second of the 3rd T's, and this plugs directly into the back of the throttle body. There's 2 ports. This is there's the upper one and a lower one, so this plugs into the upper one, and then it branches off right here to go further aft to the 3rd and final T, and these tee off to the rear fuel pressure regulators, one on the passenger side and then one here onto the driver's side. So that's the largest of them all. The second of the 4 that has a T connector, and we'll just start here at the throttle body. So this one plugs in to the lower part, you can see there, of the throttle body. I'll try to get the camera around. And then it tees off going forward, and that'll plug in to your distributor for vacuum advance, I assume. And coming back, the back branch of this T, which I'm routing under this hose again, comes back and routes underneath this part here. I'm going to walk around because you can't see it from this side. But there's 2 pins here. I'll pull this out right now. It's easy to come out. So that one routes to the lower of the 2 probes there, 2 ports. This away. So you can see there's an upper port and then there's a lower port. So this this line again comes from this Y, which again is on the lower part of the throttle body, right there, right there. Routes aft, comes underneath, connects to the bottom of these two ports. Okay, so now we're left with just two straight runs. So the first one is the one I just pulled off, which connects to the top of this vacuum switch. I assume what this is for the heater, and comes back up to that vacuum regulator just after the overflow of the coolant. So that's a real simple one. So let me go back over and get a better picture of this. If I can. Sorry for the shaky camera. So there it is. Routes down and underneath into that top of the two ports. And then the final one is another direct line. Try to get my shadow out of the way here. You can see it right here. This one comes directly over to the forward vacuum fitting on the throttle body next to this orange cap. So there you have it. Again, there's four lines, four separate assemblies, if you will. So when you take this thing off, it should come off in four separate ones. What I recommend is don't pull it apart at the Y connections when you pull them off. Pull them off at the devices that they fit into. Leave the Y connections connected. That way when you need to order new connectors, new hoses, you can use the existing as templates for length. That's what I did, just to cut them so they're all the same size. But yeah, it's pretty confusing, especially when there's a lot of stuff there. Almost really difficult when you have the intake runners on to see where all that stuff goes. So anyhow, if you're using this video, hope it helps out. I'm sure it'll help me out in 30 years when I don't remember what the hell I did the first time around.